This little camper right here is a good case of don't judge this book exactly by its cover. Welcome everybody, my name is Josh the RV Nerd here at Bish's RV at my Coldwater, Michigan hometown superstore, and this is the 175 BH Jay Flight. Now I want to really stress the numbers 175 because they also have a 170, which is basically the absolute entry-level, bare bones basic camper that they build. If you look at that one, though, there's a lot of things it doesn't do. Like, it doesn't have a freezer, really, There's a lot of things that it doesn't have. That's where this one comes in. Everybody and their brother, every manufacturer out there right now is trying to make the cheapest little bitty single axle bunkhouse they can possibly build out there. And as a result, Jayco has to react and they have to have one of them. This is the one that, if you really look at it, this is the one you would probably prefer to have. It's a little heavier. It's a little more money. But it has those extra small little nuances that I think you're going to appreciate. This is it's a Camp Queen bed from the factory, but it is true queen capable. We're gonna dig into that. You can get an optional solar package on this back here, like pretty much all your Jaycos. It has effectively double the warranty of about anybody else, double the warranty period out there, which I think is no small thing. Has the bigger 12-volt fridge freezer instead of just a little college kid dorm fridge. Some of those things in the industry, they're 110 fridges only, meaning they don't even operate in transit. This is also a full 8-foot wide and standard 6.5-foot tall inside, normal body size, so that you can actually do things like fit in the shower. But that's another cool thing. Being just a little bit bigger gave them the opportunity to actually have a dedicated bathroom sink, because some people don't want to wash bathroom hands in a kitchen sink. And that's really the key detail on this one. This style of floor plan is done a million different ways. You really have to look at the nuances on this one to see where it separates itself, and that's what I want to cover for you today. So if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button. Let's go. So one of the things I like to do is I like to put you in the driver's seat. I like to try to record most of this from a point of view perspective. And to give you a reference point, this is what it would look like if you're sitting on the toilet and leave the door open, which I know is a really critical way to go shopping for a camper. Who else does that for you? Nobody. That's who. Maybe somebody. I don't know. I don't actually check. I want to point out a couple of details that they don't appear easily on camera. Like, you can't discern this easily on camera. But this is a standard body RV. It's 8 foot wide. It's 6.5 foot tall from floor to ceiling panel. I want to point that out because in this small little class, not everything is. In this single axle category, there is some really cutthroat, budget aggressive stuff that has as low as a 6'1" ceiling. I'm 6'1" flat foot before I even put on my shoes. So I'm probably representing 6'2" on camera right now. That means I wouldn't even be able to walk under the air conditioner without scraping my scalp or anything like that. And the extra 8 foot wide body on this, it's a little more to tow. It's a little more weight, maybe potentially a little more cost. It comes with some cool benefits, though. And what it ends up being, essentially, is a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's a bunch of little stuff that probably doesn't even translate well to camera. But when you see the campers in person, you'll notice it. Like, basically, this whole extra foot of space that we have here, giving you a place to kick off some dirty shoes when you walk in the door. The effectively foot of the bed stand right there, which we're going to come back to. And this storage space right here, little campers like this traditionally have exactly jack and squat for hanging clothing storage space. And this one, it's not massive, but at least it gives you a place to hang something, even if it's the little kids' clothes. But I always like to be fair. Like, I love the fact that this is pocket screwed lumber core cabinetry. I like the fact that we have the nicer hidden hinges. I don't like the fact that the door overlaps and conflicts with some of this stuff right here. Like, this is a wood stud sidewall trailer. So you get a stud finder, you hold it up to your chest, you go, yup, there's one. Now it's calibrated. Now you can figure out where a stud is in the wall if you want to mount a TV. But it might conflict with that hanging wardrobe door like there. I always try to be fair about stuff. But also, I don't think a little camper like this you're buying so that you can sit inside to watch TV all day. It might be a get out of jail free card. Now, the reason I wanted to circle back down to this open space here at the end of the bed from the factory, this is a 60 by 74 short queen, Camp Queen bed. And for some people, you're instantly like, nope, I'm out. I get it. Hang tight real quick, because chances are you would consider replacing that factory's backbreaker death wafer mattress regardless of almost any brand you buy. That's true of a lot of things in the RV industry. I don't love that, but that's true, guys. And if you're going to do that, you'd probably get a True Queen bed to replace it anyway. So this gives you a True Queen simple and easy replacement that still maintains that little shoe garage that we talked about down there. And they give you a privacy curtain over here, but to create space for it, they also create, in a sense, another little shoe garage down here. And if I really get you in all the nooks and crannies, there's some extra power outlets down in there that almost everybody misses. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to have purchased this layout, been like, did you know there's extra plugs under the bed? Yeah, I did, but most people don't see that when they're shopping for an RV. Now, today we're looking at the optional roof air conditioner. This is a 13,500 BTU unit, so even if it's screaming hot, you should, assuming you have power, be able to maintain your temp in here. This little box on the side, though, Jay Flight's one of the few brands that still has a standard side mount air conditioner. And that's normally what would be here. But when you get the roof mount air, they had a cabinet door onto that same cabinet boxing space right there. And voila, we have a little bit of extra bonus storage. If you get the optional solar package or choose to add one later, this is where the wiring is run for that charge controller. It's a 30 amp PWM controller. That might mean nothing to you. What it means in simple plain English, it's a basic level charge controller. It's a battery tender. And it also means that if you wanted to add maybe an additional 200 watt panel, you could pretty much plug and play that. It wouldn't require any significant work. Now, I love what they did in a sense with the table here. It's almost exactly my nerd preferred way of doing it. Notice how it's a single leg. It's not a knee knocker pedestal. Well, it's a single knee knocker pedestal post, but it brackets against the wall. So that creates some really nice open leg space here, but it also keeps the table pretty nice and secure. So if you're a bigger person like me and you want to push down on the table to stand yourself up, it gives you a nice opportunity to do that. Now, you might notice the location of your electronic command center, your converter fuse box down there. That will occupy what could otherwise be some storage. But that cushion is upside down. Sorry, squirrel moment, but I just noticed the zipper was on top and kind of triggered my eyes a little bit. Back here, your bunks are essentially what I call coffin bunks. We don't have an upper bunk window, which would be nice. I do appreciate that little handle, but each bunk does have its own light and its own power outlets, although different types. The top bunk gets the USB plugs. The bottom one gets households, but you could put a USB adapter on it if you want to. This does not have a privacy curtain, though. Some people don't like that. And some people feel like the open bunk design, your kid's going to maybe roll out of bed. Remember that at least 50% of the bed is encapsulated with a wall right there. I don't think kids rolling out of bed is a major concern here, but I will also tell you, I have one of my nephews. I mean, he's woken up on the floor. He thrashes around so much in his sleep. I could see him working his way out of one of these. So I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I just don't think it's a common thing. And this little stuff, it's just a pocket of space. So instead of throwing a panel on there and wasting it, they did something with it. And I look at that and I say, you know what? I could put my kids' like clothing duffel bags or storage totes, or maybe pet dishes or something down there, so that they're available, but they're out of the way, so we're not tripping over them in an RV that has limited walking space. Sometimes open air can be worth it. I almost knee-jerked and said one of my only nitpicks is that they put a shelf in this cabinet below the sink. Initially I was thinking, I wish it was only, the shelf only went to the center beam so that one side could be open for a trash can, but that space is big enough. You know those small trash cans that fit like Walmart bags or Target bags or whatever? I think you could still fit that in there. And I don't know that I need anything bigger than that in a little camper like this. I could be mistaken. Now, if you're ever not sure how cabinetry is constructed in an RV, I'm going to teach you how to fish. What you do is you find a T intersection like this where a stile meets a rail. Put your phone in selfie mode and stick it back there, and you'll literally be able to see that this does have screws holding it together, not staples and your imagination. It is a conventional microwave by the way. It's not anything like convection or air fryer or anything like that. This does exhaust heat outside, which is crazy rare in a single axle little camper. I believe this is an 8 cubic foot, 12-volt compressor fridge right here. And there's room in theory for a 10, but they didn't waste it. They gave us that bonus drawer down there, which I really appreciate. Now, speaking of drawers, your top 2 drawers, first of all, single axle campers, it's insane how many of them have exactly 0 kitchen drawers. The bottom one here, a lot of manufacturers will just not use. Jayco in this 175, the one that does a little bit more, they actually used all those little nooks and crannies a little more intelligently and more effectively. You know what I mean? The dinette can fold down into a small sleeper. It's about the same size roughly as one of the bunks. So it's going to be a kid sleeper or a big dog sleeper. It's not going to be the thing, fellas, where if you cheese off your lady, you don't really want to spend a night on that thing if you can help it. And before I forget, I mentioned how there's not full storage under the dinette, but there is partial. One of the dinette benches does have storage below it. Some manufacturers will use really thin decking under the dinette cushions, and they'll give you a cross member. Some will just use like a 3/8 OSB or plywood in this case. Jayco kind of does both. It's when you go through a Jayco, if you compare Jaycos, they're almost always a little bit heavier and typically a couple dollars more than a lot of things out there. There's so much extra they do below the skin that's very easily missed. But I'm not going to tell you that this does everything, and I don't know that this is the best camper. I don't think that I'm an authority to say that. I like the little details, like including the butt napkin roller over there, a space for a wastebasket in the bathroom, and having, some people absolutely must have a dedicated sink for the bathroom. In a small single axle budget camper, that's very rare. But being fair, this bathroom has nothing in the way of like linen storage. You're probably going to have to like add towel hooks or something to the walls if you want to do that. And one of the things that completely grinds my gears, I have to go out of my way to show it, but it does not have a bathroom fan. And that shocks me. Now, could you add one? Yes. The factory didn't wire that vent for one, but you see that 12-volt light fixture right there? We can piggyback powering off of that. The trick is, in doing that, it's a couple extra bucks to you, and it's not protected by the factory warranty. Now, we stand behind our work at Bish's, but that might be a point of concern for you. My goal is not to some people have asked me, are you even trying to sell this thing? I'm not in sales. I'm not a commissioned salesperson. I'm here to educate you and let you decide if you want to pursue it or not. The space around the toilet, though, very, very fluffy friendly. And they, based on your input, they did add the full shower surround paneling right here. And I am thankful it includes that skylight above the shower, because without it, there is no way my 6-foot nerdy frame could ever fit up in there. It would be an absolute problem. One other little detail, the bathroom door does have a lock on it, which baffles me that more RVs don't include that feature. So, like anything, it has its ups, it has its downs. I just hope you appreciate that I've tried to represent this fairly so that you know what it does and what it doesn't do. And this RV doesn't have road mode, so I thought instead I'd share kind of another RV ownership pro tip for you. I like these tables that bracket against the wall. I think they're very stable, but the bracket, when you're putting it down into a sleeper or folding it down for transit, which you should be doing, you can scar up and dig that sidewall so easily with it. So my recommendation is DIY some kind of little scuff guard right there. It doesn't have to be flashy or fancy, but sometimes just a little bit of surface protection will go a long way on that resale value. Now, I'm going to give you a major RV shopping pro tip. This is how you smoke out someone who either doesn't know how to pair up towing vehicles or doesn't care about your safety. If you're shopping for an RV like this, tell the person on the other end of the phone, my vehicle has a 3,500 pound tow rating. Do you think this is safe? And if they say yes, I would recommend ending that call. And I want to teach you how to fish so that you understand why. Because I have found this is the single most commonly misunderstood thing when it comes to pairing up tow vehicles and RVs. Your RVs, or your vehicle's maximum weight, we said was 3,500 pounds towing. This RV's base minimum empty weight, as we're looking at it here today, is $33.91. Now that might have a couple options. It might look a little different from the specs we just saw on screen. That means that we have about a little over 1,200 pounds of available cargo. What you need to be responsible for is the full GVW 4,600 pounds. But that's not how most dealership agents are taught to pair up tow vehicles. I generally think the average person on the other end of the phone doesn't want to put you in danger or get you hurt. They're just trying to make, as far as they know, an honest income. But they are sometimes trained by wolves who call themselves salespeople. So, what kind of vehicle do you need? A decent tow package SUV, mid-size pickup, or larger, because you need to have at least a 4,600 pound tow rating, and preferably more than that. When you're in that 6,000 pound tow package kind of category, you'll probably find this RV generally acceptable. If you're going to be doing mountain towing and heavy highway use, you might want to go up a little bit bigger. So use that general knowledge I just gave you to apply to any RV when you're shopping. And it is amazing the answers that you'll hear out there sometimes. Now, back to the Jayco at hand. It's not a full front pass-through because there's some stuff on the other side. But we do have a pretty solid front compartment, and you can lift that bed from the inside to get in there. I threw the gigantic microwave box in there to kind of help you out. One thing this doesn't have is front stabilizer jacks. That would be really nice. I hope you appreciate that I'll sometimes point out things an RV doesn't have, because that'll just take a little extra herky-jerky wiggle-jiggle out of this thing. The windows are tinted. You've got that double-length warranty, which is nice. You do have a stovetop exhaust vent hood. Again, if you're a first-timer and you don't know what you don't know, this is a handy thing to find if you're going to be cooking in the RV. This thing right here has a little exhaust fan where when you're cooking, you can breathe all that hot, humid air out of the RV so that you're not cooking yourself out of the RV, which is kind of nice. Down here, this is another thing that people often don't look for. A lot of RVs don't have this. You see how it's a full, like, protected wheel well liner. That's a super boring thing to even bother looking at on a camera or on a video. But God forbid, you have a blowout. Do you think you would ever regret having that extra protective wheel well liner there? And can you believe the fact that the majority of RVs in this budget range, or frankly for even more money, don't have a safety feature like that? So it's just those little things that are included on this that I appreciate. And again, I've pointed out where there's a couple things this RV doesn't do because it didn't hit the budget point for whatever reason or whatever the case might be. But it does, I think, the really important things really well. Like the lack of front stabilizers, you can overcome that. There's different ways. Lack of protection for a wheel well blowout, that's a lot harder. This full 175 you see does have the stable steps. The 170 little brother, I think, has the more traditional single plank fold out step. We do have reverse travel elements in our taillights, tankless on-demand water heater. It is also a fully walkable roof. You can see the ladder and camera prep back there. And single sewer outlet, also a nice, handy, simple little feature. And as we talked about when the video first began, this does have the option to put a solar package up there on the roof. By default, it's just going to be roof solar prepped. You can get the optional Overlander solar package, which is a 200-watt solar panel with 30-amp charge controller. And this has some very, very minimal inverter prep to a couple outlets. Now, I'll drop you a link in the description like I always do to double check pricing and availability. We have these at most of our stores, thankfully. Now, again, if you're like, yeah, but I just don't need all that. Like, it's just a little bit beyond my budget point or my vehicle capability. Check the 170BH instead of this 175BH, and that should probably do exactly what you need it to do. If I've been able to capture a video on that one, I'll leave you a link. For some reason, I don't know that I have yet, but I'll work on getting that rectified for you. So depending on when you're watching this, we might already have that footage good to go. So when you're ready, we're ready. And if this one's close but not exactly, remember, there's only about a bajillion other builders who make a layout like this, whether it's Keystone or 23 different Forest Rivers or Winnebago or Grand Design or anybody else. Leave us a note. Let us know what you're looking for. Chances are, if it's on wheels, we've got it at Bish's RV. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.